Hey, I'm going to show how to use particles in a UE in Unity. I am not using HRP. I've seen a few other videos around. They're either using HRP or they're kind of really complicated. I'm going to try to keep this simple. So I'll show you where we're going to end up with. We've got particles in a UE. We've basically got two cameras. We've got a UE camera, which if I turn this off, then we get rid of that. So the particles are clearly part of the UE. By the way, we can flip these particles around. If we flip them around, they go behind the button. And if we rotate them, now they're in front of the button. But either way, whichever way around they are, like if I stick them behind the button, they're still part of the UE and being filmed by this UE camera. And then meanwhile, we've got the scene viewer behind. So this is where we're going to go. Alright, so let's turn that off. I'm just going to create a new scene. And I'm going to call that UE particles 4, because I've tried this a few times. Alright, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a canvas. So down to UE canvas. Then within this I'm going to add a button so that we've got something to look at, so that we know we've got some sort of UE. There we go. Right, now I'm going to create a particle effect inside the canvas. And let's just make this like, I don't know, like sort of reddy color. And we can't see it. We can see we've got the layer set to UE. Right, what we're going to do is we're going to change the render mode of the cameras from screen space overlay to screen space camera. We need to create a camera. So we create a new camera, which we're going to call UE cam. And we're just going to choose that camera for the canvas. There we go. Right, now in this game view, we can actually see some particles. Right, let's make the particles a bit further, and let's make them a bit bigger. There we go. All right, so we've got some particles. We can spin them around. So cool. All right, now so it seems like we're fairly far forward. Right, now what we need to do, let's create an object in the game world, which we suddenly won't be able to see. So we're going to create a sphere here, and let's color it red. And we don't see that in the game view. So why don't we see that in the game view? Because in the UE cam, the clear flags is clearing everything. So let's get rid of this audio listener actually, because you can only have one audio listener in a scene. So this camera, it's got a higher depth than the main camera, and therefore this one takes priority, and we're clearing everything. So we change that to depth only, and now we're no longer clearing everything. Now we can see this sphere behind. Oops, I'm removing the wrong thing. Let's click on the sphere, remove that. So now we can see the sphere. So we've got button, we've got particles, we've got sphere. We can put the particles in front of or behind that button. Either way is okay, up to us. One thing you'll notice is if I disable this UE camera, we can still see the particles. Why is that? That's because we need to go to the main camera and we need to change the culling mask. We need to get rid of UE. Right now the main camera will no longer be showing the particles. So we've got particles here. If I turn off the UE camera, no more particles. So there we go. And as before, if we want to stick the particles so that they go in front of the button, we can just flip this around. If you're wondering why flipping this around means it goes in front of or behind, well, what we can do is if we go to this scene and we just kind of like move this down so we've got a top view somehow. Alright, so we've got a top view. If I do play, you can see the particles are going behind, in which case they would go behind the button. If I rotate this 180, now they go in front, and now they go in front of the button. That's it. Done.